This is Hello from Mars.
It's a bonus.
Look at that face.
My brother Michael, he is the loudest swallower. He will sit there, and he does it on purpose because he knows that we're all, I can't say annoyed by it, but we all notice it, and he'll sit there and he'll be like, quack, and I don't know how he swallows so loudly, but it's like a thunderclap every time he takes a drink of something.
Yeah, my dad, he does that whole after every sip. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, it doesn't matter whatever's going on, and he does it because he knows that it annoys everybody.
I understand that too. That's something I can do, and I have done that too. My roommate Missy.
Yeah.
Yep. Sit there, just after every sip for like 3 solid minutes.
See, Missy must have a higher tolerance, because I would have like totally just.
Well, she also knows that I'm doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
Like to get a rise out of her, and so there will be a lot of times where I'm doing stuff, and she just won't acknowledge it because she knows that what I want her to do is acknowledge it. But it gets to everybody has their breaking point. That's the thing.
It is true.
If you can just persist. Nevertheless, he persisted.
Has there ever been a moment where you've done that to me? I mean, you're like the trolliest of trolls.
Well, see, you react differently. You don't react angrily necessarily. Like, I used to, when we were on air together, I would just make noises when we went on air, like,
oh, yeah. Yeah, no.
and you just kind of roll with it. So it's
Yeah.
not the same dynamic. I appreciate them both for different reasons. You know, I like getting a rise out of people, but I also appreciate somebody who can just be like, all right, we're going to incorporate this into what we're doing.
Well,
That's
I mean,
professionalism.
you know why though? Because it's you. So like when we're doing things like that, it's your character.
Right,
like,
thank you.
know?
Thank you for acknowledging me. That's all I've ever wanted, was for somebody to appreciate me for who I am. And not just for this beautiful package that I come in.
Les Magnifiques.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh la la, even.
La la.
Which was a Britney Spears song. A very underrated Britney Spears song from the Smurfs 2 in 2013. We used to play that at night, and I used to bump that in the studio, and then I'd listen to it on my way home, and I would crank that volume up to 35, because I never turned the volume above 35 in my car, because I didn't want to blow my speakers. But then that car got rear-ended last summer, and it got told I got a brand new car, much nicer. Turned the volume up higher than 35 in that car, because I know the sound system can handle it. But my point is, Ooh La La by Britney Spears, go listen to it. It is a certified bop.
I just realized who you're like.
Who's that?
That Ken guy on Masked Singer. Ken Jeong.
Oh, Ken Jeong?
Ken Jeong,
Really?
Yeah.
That is such a compliment. Man, I haven't felt so good since Chad O'Hara told me that Rivers Cuomo reminded him of me. And I was like, yo, look at this. Rivers Cuomo, the lead singer of Weezer, reminds somebody else of me. Not the other way around. But
Right.
I'm feeling good right now. Look at this. I got Rivers Cuomo and Ken Jeong under my belt.
Yeah, it was because all of a sudden you're like, and ooh la la, like, have you ever seen him on Masked Singer? The way he describes who he thinks, he's like, and I worked with this person in this movie, and then they all start making fun of him, and he's like, well, you're just jealous because you haven't been in as many Hangover movies as I've been in.
I've never watched The Masked Singer, but I saw him on Hot Ones, and he's a very funny guy.
He is funny. But, like, even what you did, your body, like, language and everything, like, you almost stood up, and that's what he does. He's like, ugh.
I'm a very kinetically excited person.
Yeah.
So when I mean, you can see it right now as I gesticulate. When I get excited about something, I put my entire body into it.
But this is Bill. If anybody followed me on any local radio in Albany, New York, you probably heard Dr. Love. He, you know,
give sage advice on the relationship problem. Can't solve my own to save my life, but I can solve literally anyone else's relationship problems. You give me a question, I give you an answer. Just like that. I got my friend in high school, we were 14 years old, and I gave him advice that led to him marrying his wife at the age of 14. He didn't get married at 14, but he started dating her at 14.
So I think you might be a reoccurring person on the podcast.
Hooray!
You know, we got to bring Dr. Love back, I feel like. But,
Good.
You know, he was on my show for a very long time. He also did the show directly after mine, and, you know, Capital Region Radio for how many years?
let's see, I did that show for just about 5, and then I did a morning show on a different station for 3 years following. So 8 years in 8 years. Okay, hold on. 8 years and like 3.5 weeks. So not quite 8 years. There's 52 weeks in a year. So that's 416 weeks. So 417 or so weeks. Am I doing the math? I don't know. I was never hired to do math. I was hired to speak. Well, we need somebody on there to make it sound like the music isn't all scheduled ahead of time, which it is. Wait, can we do like uncovering radio secrets? Can we do that? Can we do like, you think this is how it works, but it's nothing like that?
I mean, we can talk about some of that.
Oh boy, I would love to blow the lid off of like how contests are rigged. That's a real thing.
They're not rigged.
Oh, some of them are.
What ones?
Oh, I'm not going to say anything more about that, but I was always opposed to this. But if you want to get into that later, we can get into that at a different time.
I feel like I need to hear.
So let me say,
I don't think I was ever involved in any of that.
No, you weren't. This is not a widespread thing, but it is a thing. And I always objected, and I was always told to shut up if I didn't want to be fired when I objected. So that happens.
Well, I will say, you won a radio contest for your job.
I did.
That was not rigged. So much so that I didn't pick you. Sorry.
Whoa! Oh, well, why don't we just get George Biffer in here then? Okay.
I didn't pick George Biffer either.
Oh! Why don't we just get Nate Bowen?
No, he was.
Oh,
my
you
pick.
picked him. Okay, that's
No, he
fine.
was my
That's
pick.
fine pick. Actually, Dave Mink too. Like,
Did I tell you why?
All
though?
good dudes.
I think I explained my reasoning why.
You probably did.
Anybody who doesn't know this story, this was back in 2011.
September
and
2011.
The person that we had doing our night show had just up and quit, and we needed somebody, and all of the demos that we were getting in were horrible, like horrendous.
I heard a lot of them, and they were bad.
They were like so bad. And this is the problem with radio, is there is no training ground anymore, and it's just because everything is being pre-recorded and whatever. So like, and a lot of people are being used for a lot of different things and a lot of different stations, even in the same market. So it's like, there's just no training. So we decided X Factor was a big thing at the time. So we did our Fly Factor, and we ended up having a contest to find our new night show host. And we just had, I think it was like maybe 5 different guys come in that were our final choices, and just do different things that we normally do. So like, I know you came in with me, and I was music director, so like I had you name a whole bunch of songs with like, I don't know, 1 second.
Oh, that
of a
is my
song.
jam. Like we play that game for fun at home. So
Yeah.
when I came in and found out that was my challenge, I was like, all right, baby, let's go.
So I thought that was good because like you obviously knew the music, you knew the station, so that was definitely good. My selling point for the other guy was the morning show had him in, and they just walked out of the studio and left
That was
him.
impressive. No,
Yeah.
I can't. That's terrifying.
Like that, between that and something else that he did. So like when the morning show left, he legit just got on the mic and just started talking and like introducing himself, and just, I mean, he talked for like 3 minutes, and it wasn't, it was like good. Like it was just him being him, and like saying what he liked about the area, and that he wasn't from here originally, but he really liked it, and like everything that he did was like the right thing to say. And then when I had him in for my show, my task for him was to come up with topics that we should talk about on the air, because I always did a topic hour, and everything, without me even telling him what the demo of our listening audience is and like who we cater to and all of that, he came up with topics that like completely worked. Like they were just legit, like I could use all of them, and probably ended up using all of them actually.
Well, hang on, let me see. I think I might still have his phone number. So if you want to just give him a call,
No!
and I can leave. Because honestly, I do. I have his phone number here.
It's probably like,
He might have changed it since 2012.
you had a lot of positive qualities too. And I remember Terry was like, he reminds me a lot of me. And I'm like, that's not a good reason to hire him, Terry. Like, that's not. So when you said that you've like you worked in radio for like 400 and whatever, how many weeks, that's how long you've known me.
Yes, right. I've known you since September 12th, 14th? No. Okay, I could go back. I don't want to waste your time with it now, but I can calculate the exact day. But yeah.
Which is
mid-September, or mid-September 2011.
So you get hired, And then Terry quits.
Right. Literally less than 2 weeks after I got hired.
He knows nothing. Like, you knew basically nothing about that, how to run the stuff really and whatever. Like, I had to teach you from the ground zero up.
Yep.
and run the whole station myself.
Right, yes, we've got an acting program director with a brand new, and I'm like, when we said brand new, it's not like I'm brand new to the station. I had never done radio, but I walked in off the street because it was a contest. So I had to learn how to do radio under the tutelage of somebody who is now running the entire station and basically doing the jobs of 2 people. 3 if you count training a brand new person.
I mean...
So kudos,
yeah.
hats off, over in this direction. Check out that flow. I mean, almost everything that I learned in radio, I learned from you. I mean, I learned a lot from Scott too, and I learned a bunch from Allie also. But like the vast majority of it, I learned from you. So not just saying that to because I'm on your podcast.
But quickly.
But
too.
yeah, well, I mean, I guess that's a credit to me, huh? Oh wow, you made the right choice. Well, you didn't make the right choice. You would have. You would have brought somebody else in.
Listen, I made the right choice when it comes to best friends.
Oh.
That's what I did.
Oh shucks.
Just reshared something on Facebook. I can't remember the exact memory, but it was a post about like your favorite memory with me, and you had something on there.
I almost clicked on that. I was like, I wonder if I commented. I probably did, and I wanted to see what I had said 2 years ago when you shared it, and I almost clicked on it, and I didn't. I feel like I didn't do enough show prep.
There's 162
162 comments. Holy Moses.
But yours should pop up relatively quickly,
let's see.
So before, how you said, like, you're never going to let me live this down, Eddie Hernandez, the Filipino sensation, when he was doing the night show, because he was the guy right before you, and... I swear to God. Okay, so if you got an email at like, I don't know, noon, 1 o'clock that day that said, hey, there's free seafood in the kitchen.
Oh.
At 7, 8 o'clock at night, would you go and eat the said seafood that's been out there since like noon or 1 o'clock?
Me, I would, yes.
Well,
I feel like you know that.
But guess what? So did he. And then I don't know what kind of sick he ended up being, but he was very ill the rest of the night. And he blames me because I sent the original email out. But it was not necessarily my responsibility to throw out the rest of the food.
Right, no, agreed. So, I mean, there was a related anecdote. There was a breakfast burrito on the table one time that was delivered by Sonic, and I was like, oh, sweet, breakfast burrito, when I came in later that night. And I kept that, I want to say I kept that on my desk for a week, and then I ate it. And I did not get sick because I have a stronger stomach than the Filipino sensation. Thank you very much.
Want to go ahead and read your memory?
All right, here it says... Okay, so let's just for context, because I don't think what is the actual post say? It was like feeling nostalgic.
Yeah, what's your
favorite memory with me? That's my Marissa impression.
That was really good.
Thank you. And it says that time you texted me just before midnight in like October or November of 2011 to tell me I wasn't supposed to be just putting music in the log because I added a We the King song. In parentheses, which we were playing in afternoons at the time, by the way, to fill out the 11 o'clock hour.
This is one of those radio secrets, right?
Yes.
So,
and I'll explain why I did this. You go ahead. You tell your side story first, Uncle Phil.
Did you call me Uncle Phil?
Yeah. Because like on that episode of The Fresh Prince where like they're telling the two sides of the story, and from Will's perspective, Uncle Phil comes out to the pool and he like pops the ducky float, and he's all mad.
Now I wish I had a ducky float.
Yeah.
The music is scheduled for radio stations, and that was my job, and especially at the time, it was my job to be running the entire station. And so if you're short music, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to call the music director so you can have the proper music put in, because as we know, as I'm sure anybody that might be watching, if you don't like the song, you turn it, and we don't want people turning the station, and we always test the music to know what you're liking, or we see what you're buying to know what you're liking, and all of that. And that We the King song was not testing well, but Bill liked it.
It was a bop.
It was a bop.
Mm-hmm.
I like We the Kings.
Song.
Those guys are awesome, but the song was not testing. But listen, you're not the only person that I've done that to.
No, I didn't hold it against you personally. I was just like, okay, fine.
But the Nate thing, he's gonna. So here's the other story. So when Taylor Swift was crossing over to pop, it was, I think it was like You Belong With Me or something. It was one of the first Teardrops on My Guitar, I think, actually.
2007-ish.
So I heard them at it in the morning, and like we were playing it at the time, but somebody went and slid in the country version. And here's the thing, on a pop station, when you are playing anything that sounds remotely country, you get like 15 phone calls of people going, why are you playing this country crap? Because it has a banjo in it. And that's really what it was. It had violins and banjos, and the pop version did not. So I called up and I go,
pop version has 808 drums.
Right. I'm like, see what happened when you fucks with the music?
I had been, and again, if this was October or November 2011, I've been there for less than 2 months, probably at this point. And on like my first or second night on the job, when Terry was training me, he was like, all right, so if you're ever low on music, like if this number, it shows you, there's a little timer that shows you how many minutes under in an hour you are and how many you need to get to be like, fill out the music for an hour. It's like, if you're ever under, just, throw on something you haven't heard in a while. Just throw it on at the end. And I was like, oh, okay. So, okay. And then he left, and he was no longer in charge, but I'm still operating under, the instructions that I was given by the guy who hired me. And so I'm like, all right, well, we're playing this We the King song. I need another, 3-4 minutes in this hour. Bloop. And then, I did a boo-boo.
Sorry. I mean, I took my job a little bit more seriously than that. Because music for that station was my life for the entire time.
It was your job. So. I can't hold it against you. But you had the laser beam, death grip, eyes.
It's called caring about your work.
And it's, that's a beautiful quality.
And you know what? It's done nothing for me. So.
Well, I guess that's true. That's why I got fired, because I cared about my work. Bummer. You try to do a good show, and they're like, stop doing a good show. We don't want your ratings to be better than the station we're trying to prop up. Yeah.
Stop doing fun things.
You're doing too well. You're not being a good enough meat shield.
You know what's funny? I was just talking about this the other day, too. Every time I've been a cut for, budgetary purposes, I've gone out at the top of my game. I've been number one everywhere that I've gotten let go from.
And that's what happens. You try, you put your heart and soul into something, and you get cut. Hashtag Free Britney.
Hashtag Free Britney. Oh, Billiam. Well, thank you for coming in to be a part of this first edition of the podcast.
I am honored.
Is there any final words? Any final memories that you'd like to share?
Well, final memories. See, I want to talk about taking my horse to Old Town Road, because that was another thing that I was right about. But maybe we'll leave that for the future if I'm ever invited back.
I think you will be.
And that's what we call a tease in radio. Or I guess I've had to amend that statement. Just call it a tease as a normal citizen of the United States of America in the great state of New York.
Oh, hey!